April 2005 was a monumental month for modern culture. Not just because Prince Charles would finally marry his longtime muse Camilla, and not just because Popeye passed away. No, it was because 25-year-old internet entrepreneur Jawed Karim decided to visit the San Francisco Zoo. At some point during the trip, Jawed would find his way to the elephant enclosure, and he would ask one of his friends to take his camera so they could film him talking about the animals standing behind them. The video would only last about 20 seconds, and it honestly isn't very interesting. But regardless, this would end up being one of the most important moments in modern history. Why? Because this video would be the very first clip ever uploaded to YouTube. It wouldn't take long for others to start uploading. Just 1 year later, in July 2006, YouTube was getting 65,000 new videos every day. An organic culture sprung up revolving around grassroots, low-budget original content made by amateur filmmakers. There wasn't really much rhyme or reason to it. As long as you were entertaining, people would watch. This would begin to change though. As the years went on, formats would begin to develop on YouTube, like vlogs, let's plays, commentary. When it comes to horror, at the beginning of the 2010s, creepypasta narration channels would begin to spring up. Marble Hornets was started on YouTube in 2009, and it would quickly inspire many other horror ARGs in the early 2010s. In 2015, Clearlake's 44 and Local 58 would both independently pioneer the analog horror genre, which is still going strong to this day. In the same year, Nightmind would gain a lot of notoriety for his videos featuring in-depth analyses on horror ARGs. Rainbod would start her channel in the same year, focusing her content on internet mysteries usually relating to horror. Shrouded Hand, who had been on the platform since 2013, would start making long-form content relating to real-life horrors like true crime. These three YouTubers would very quickly inspire an entire generation of horror YouTubers, all covering a similar mishmash of content, like Nexpo, Nick Crowley, Scare Theater. Somewhere down the line, Lost Media and Liminal Spaces would enter the fold, and that pretty much brings us to now. Horror on YouTube has more or less been fully fleshed out as a genre. But today, we're going to talk about a horror project that started long before this current meta. A project that truly reflected the era of YouTube that it originated from. A project that would be the most influential series of horror content on the platform for many years. And yet I haven't seen a single YouTuber cover it. Today, we're going to dive headfirst into Contron's Mentally Disturbing series. Contron would sign up for YouTube on August 8, 2005, a mere 6 months after the site began. His first videos mostly consisted of short snapshots of his life, like his experience at Warped Tour, having fun with firearms, and just goofing around with his friends. A couple of these videos would actually go viral. This 9-second clip of a woman using a shotgun got 2.7 million views. This 16-second clip of his mom playing charades got 735,000 views. You might think it's strange that such mundane videos got so much attention, but this was the nature of YouTube in this time period. The site overall mostly consisted of random short clips like this. The popular videos of the period included Smosh's theme song videos, which were all recorded on a cheap webcam in Ian's bedroom. You had stunt or fail videos, you had short clips of the popular video games at the time, like the original Counter-Strike or GTA San Andreas. You had the odd commercial or pirated music video, but by and large, the vast majority of content on YouTube in 2005 were these short candid home movies like Contron was uploading. Since YouTube had basically just launched, people were just dipping their toes into this novel concept of sharing videos online for others to watch. But with that being said, there were some horror videos. Ghost Car is a very famous example that you've probably seen. The vast majority of what you could call horror on YouTube in this era was exactly this: jump scares or people reacting to them. But there were rare cases of people attempting to make more conventional online horror years before anyone else, and Contron would end up being one such pioneer. It all started with a clip titled Haunted Video, uploaded on November 16th, 2005. The description reads, "Found this video on a digital camera I found snooping around my neighbor's backyard. After I transferred the video, the camera is broken. Yeah, this is yet another cheap jump scare video, which were very common in 2005. But it wouldn't take Contron long to follow it up with something much more substantial. His next set of videos would be more random slices of his life, but on January 31st, 2006, Contron would upload a video called Mentally Disturbing. This video might not seem like much nowadays, but back in 2006, it was a rarity on YouTube. It was a completely original piece of horror content made specifically for the platform. Much like everything else on YouTube at the time, there wasn't much rhyme or reason to this video. It was just a Windows Movie Maker mishmash of various creepy clips cobbled together to unsettle the viewer. Some of the source material here includes the music videos for Parabola by Tool, Black Hole Sun by Soundgarden, and Ray of Light by Madonna. There's a couple film versions of vaudeville skits from the early 1900s, like this Pity the Blind clip, and the rest is mostly made up of creepy pictures and gifs that were being passed around 4chan and other corners of the internet at the time. Hey guys, just interrupting here for a second because I want to give you a bit of an update on this horse image. When I first made this video, I just kind of played off this image as some random picture Contron found online, which is true. It probably was, but it's just so striking. I wanted to put a little bit more effort into finding it. So I did a little more digging, and I actually found this video by Sakura Stardust, who I am subscribed to. I don't know why I didn't see this video. And she was able to track the image down to the early 2000s. This image was apparently made by an anonymous artist known as Enterwood for an Italian experimental rock band known as Bara Fotida. Now this information comes straight from the band, and they even provided an earlier version of the album cover with a sort of less cropped version of this picture. But both versions still have text on it, which means that the version Contron used still hasn't really been found. Now in this same video, Sakura Stardust mentions that many people have tried to contact Contron to figure out where this image came from, but he hasn't responded. Contron, if you're watching this video, because I know you're still on YouTube, and I mean, if somebody made a 30-minute video about me, I'd probably watch it. If you're sitting here watching this, could you let us know where you found this image if you remember? I'd be very curious. Alright, let's get back to the video. Mentally Disturbing would eventually go on to garner more than 1 million views, but not right away. It wouldn't even receive a single comment until a week after it was uploaded. Before Contron got much attention for his horror videos, he would make a part 2, transforming Mentally Disturbing into a series. Melda and Anna, Insane Shit Mentally Disturbing 2, was uploaded only a month after the first video. I'm sure you can probably tell, but I really like audio and music. I actually used to work as an audio engineer many years ago, and I've also produced music and played in bands since I was a teenager. And if there's one trend I've noticed over time, it's the prices of consumer headphones steadily rising. Which makes sense considering how much more stuff they put into headphones nowadays, like Bluetooth and noise cancellation. Well, if there's one audio brand where I really feel like you're getting your money's worth, it's Raycon. Raycon have just released their new everyday earbuds, and they pack in a ton of features for a very fair price. You get stuff like multi-point connectivity. You can connect these to your phone and your laptop at the same time. They've got a lot of personalization options. I especially love the ocean pattern my case has. They've got wireless charging and active noise cancellation, so I can read in the park without having to hear kids scream in the adjacent playground. Okay, we've got to talk about the most important thing, the fit. I've struggled for years to find an earbud that fits my ears. I don't know if they're just weirdly shaped, but earbuds always seem to fall out of my ears. Well, I'm happy to report that the everyday earbuds are not only super comfortable, but they actually do stay in my ears, even when I'm out for a run. If you want to support the channel, go to buyraycon.com/feral today to get 20 to 50% off site-wide. That's right, you'll get up to 50% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/feral. Much like the first video, Mentally Disturbing 2 presents us a mishmash of various unrelated creepy clips, although to a better effect this time around. You can definitely draw many parallels between this sort of content and the videotape from The Ring that will make you die after 7 days if you watch it. Contron's goal must have been not so much to make horror with any sort of concrete plot, but to make what feels like cursed media. The sources for the videos here include clips of American nuclear bomb tests, more vaudeville clips, the music video for Come to Daddy by Aphex Twin, a video of oil tanks burning from the year 1900, and I'm not sure about the rest. This one clip with the people dancing in the jungle is bothering me. I feel like I should be able to find the source for this, but I just can't. Let me know if you recognize it. On April 30th, 2006, Contron would upload Ghastly, Mentally Disturbing Part 3. This one would build on the foundation started by the others, except Contron pushed the boundaries a little, including some more risque clips, which would unfortunately lead to the video getting removed from YouTube and subsequently making it hard for me to show you much of it. It includes clips from a brutal 1895 reenactment of the execution of Mary, Queen of Scots, some clips from the 1927 movie Metropolis, an anti-fur PSA that depicts a woman being clubbed like a seal with a baseball bat, the real aftermath of a high-speed collision with a moose, and clips from John Carpenter's 1988 movie They Live. After Part 3 came out, Contron's series was beginning to get some attention. By May 19th of that year, Part 1 had accumulated 42,000 views, a pretty decent amount for the time period. Part 2 and 3 would soon pick up speed as well, each getting 18,000 and 30,000 views respectively by August. But it was with Part 4 where things would get truly interesting, and would grow much larger than Contron ever could have imagined. But it wouldn't happen right away. Part 4 would go out on July 23rd and would move in the same direction as 3, featuring more obscure and risque clips, including a cobra eating a live pig, a Yellow Pages commercial taken out of context to make it look like a man murdering a little girl in a brutal way, and the nuclear bomb scene from the BBC's 1984 movie Threads. We would get Part 5 on November 26th, which is another entry that was removed by YouTube, and it was unfortunately never archived and it remains lost media. In June 2007, we would get Part 6. Contron would do something a little different this time around. Instead of just remixing clips he found online in Windows Movie Maker, Contron filmed the vast majority of this himself, and he would use an actual premium video editing program this time around. The end result is not just the best entry in the Mentally Disturbing series, but possibly the first piece of analog horror on the internet. I mean, just look at the ending.
Good morning. Welcome to the best in television entertainment and information, coming to you from WTVR Channel 6. WTVR TV is owned and operated by Roy H. Park Broadcast.
It's hard to say if the pioneers of analog horror like Troy Wagner or Chris Daub have actually seen this video, but it's pretty surreal to see all the elements of such a characteristic form of horror done years before anyone else. I mean, this video came out in 2007. Even the Wyoming incident videos, which some people may consider to be some of the first pieces of analog horror, came out a couple years later. I don't think Contron has gotten nearly enough credit for this, but blazing the trails for analog horror is actually really minor compared to what's about to happen. Part 6 will be the last mentally disturbing entry for quite a while, but that doesn't mean the series wasn't still picking up steam. By the time 2007 had rolled around, the first video had accumulated more than 200,000 views, and it was beginning to influence others to make similar content. This is where we're changing setting a bit. We're moving from the USA down to Mexico. In Latin America in 2007, YouTube wasn't nearly as popular as it was up north. It was only beginning to reach the early stages of mainstream adoption. On October 5th of that year, a now infamous account will be created for the first time. Obey the Walrus. You see, there was a clip in part 4 that I didn't show you. This one. Contron was the first person to upload this clip of Sandy Crisp the Goddess Bunny to YouTube. A Mexican teenager saw this video, cut out the Goddess Bunny clips, added some Spanish children's music, and created an overnight viral sensation. Obedece a la Molsa. Or in English, Obey the Walrus would garner 5 million views in the first year it was uploaded, far surpassing the source material that inspired it. Now I can already hear you thinking, Farrell, how do you know he actually copied Contron? Couldn't he have just found the Goddess Bunny clip on his own and just so happened to make a very similar video with it? Well, you'd be wrong, because Contron's clips show up in more videos made by Obey the Walrus. In fact, his video Insomnio is basically just a remixed version of the first part of Mentally Disturbing. Almost everything here comes straight out of Contron's video. Even when Contron's clips don't show up, the motifs usually end up being pretty similar, with snakes killing animals and creepy clowns being a staple between both YouTubers. Like I said, Obey the Walrus will be incredibly successful, but why not Contron? I personally think his videos are quite a bit better. Well, I think it comes down to 3 reasons. For one thing, Contron and Obey the Walrus are from different countries, and they had a different audience. Maybe Latin America was just a better place for so-called cursed media to flourish. Obey the Walrus also went much further than Contron, including many real clips of gore, death, and even bizarre censored smut in his videos. The biggest reason for Obey the Walrus' success, though, in my opinion, was his identity. Contron was not anonymous. Alongside his mentally disturbing videos sat real clips from his real life. He would be active in his comments section, talking to fans about the mentally disturbing videos, how he made them, and what his plans were for future uploads. In other words, he was just a regular guy making creepy videos, and there wasn't a whole lot of mystery or intrigue surrounding them. But Obey the Walrus went completely the other way with his online presence. He was effectively anonymous. He didn't include any personal information on his channel. The only thing people had to judge this guy's personality was Obedece a la Molsa. People began to wonder, maybe this Obey the Walrus video really was cursed in some way. As Obey the Walrus got more and more views, more and more viewers became interested in the person responsible for making this creepy clip. all of them completely unaware that the video concept and footage was taken from another YouTuber. To viewers in Latin America, this video had seemingly come out of nowhere. All sorts of wild theories started circulating the Spanish internet. Maybe this video was satanic propaganda. Maybe it was the work of a deranged cult. Maybe it was a method of mind control put out by the government. All these conspiracy theories only fueled the intrigue, and eventually an entire community would be formed around the mysterious figure behind Obey the Walrus. The creator would eventually open an MSN account to communicate with fans that he quote-unquote deemed worthy. He also opened up a MySpace account to share his original art, and also an entire forum where he would share his twisted interests with his fans and tell them that he is in fact a god. He would structure the forum in the following categories: the believers, for the people who saw this anonymous creator as some sort of deity; the mass, for people who were interested but not quite ready to quit their organized religion; the Walrus Speaks, a forum for the creator to give his thoughts on world events; and lastly, Satisfy Your Morbidity, a forum for users to share gore and other depraved things. The way this forum was set up might suggest that Obey the Walrus was trying to establish some sort of online cult. Whether or not people actually took it seriously or they were just playing along is hard to say. One thing was certain though, not everybody was on board with this weird religious atmosphere that Obey the Walrus was cultivating. A fan and fellow YouTuber by the name of Music Is My Faith would create a series of videos analyzing and breaking down Obey the Walrus's creepy uploads. They would be the first YouTuber to identify the creepy dancing clip as Sandy Crisp the Goddess Bunny, but they wouldn't discover the connection to Contron. There were some though that seemed to be eating what the walrus was cooking. A user known as Concasabit would make contact, and he offered to do whatever was necessary to help Obey the Walrus spread his message. The two would begin a friendship, with Concasabit eventually being referred to as the right hand of the walrus, or the Prince of Terror. Concasabit would begin releasing videos in a similar style to Obey the Walrus, oftentimes featuring Sandy Crisp in their uploads. While he did have some supporters, Obey the Walrus would gradually suffer more and more backlash as time went on. He had based his entire identity on his first video supposedly being some important piece of a larger manifesto or philosophy, but multiple YouTubers who analyzed it failed to find any sort of hidden meaning. Fans began to question if the whole supposed cult Obey the Walrus had built around himself had any sort of substance to it. And newsflash, it didn't. It was just a guy making edgy videos on the internet. Obey the Walrus's community would slowly turn on him, but the final nail in the coffin came when he was betrayed by his closest confidant. It eventually came out that Concasabit was leaking information about Obey the Walrus to his mortal enemy, Music Is My Faith. The Walrus would banish this Judas out of his community permanently, and that's when Concasabit would upload a series of videos revealing his master plan. He had apparently planned from the beginning to betray the Walrus, gaining his confidence so he could gather as much personal information as possible to eventually leak to the internet. The biggest thing to come out of this was that the Walrus had apparently requested nude pictures from Concasabit. After this revelation, it was all over. Obey the Walrus would delete his entire internet presence in November 2008, just 1 year after it began. While this might have marked the end of its creator, that original mysterious video that started all of this would continue to live on. The most popular re-upload of it currently has 33 million views, and it even inspired an entire genre on Spanish YouTube called Finijario. These videos are compilations of creepy clips set to ominous sounds, and they often contain many jump scares. That all sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? Weren't we just talking about something like that? Contron would upload Mentally Disturbing Part 7 in April 2008. It's a lot of the same ideas from Part 6, with Contron including more original content rather than solely relying on found footage from the internet. But at this point, the story had been taken out of his hands. Someone else had run off with his style and brought it to a much larger audience. His first video had garnered 1 million views, but this one would only get 18,000, and it would be the last entry of the Mentally Disturbing series, thus ending the very first horror project on YouTube. Contron still uploads to this day though, still making quirky short videos, just no longer in a horror style. This comment on one of his recent uploads caught my eye. Contron. What a legend. Obey the Walrus was such a plagiarist of those masterpieces you created. The story of Contron and Obey the Walrus is truly something that could only happen on the internet. A tale spanning countries and languages, of content being transformed for a different audience and then blowing way out of proportion. A story of insane drama over the most mundane things. A tale of someone not getting the credit they deserve. There's countless videos floating around horror YouTube about Obey the Walrus, but I have yet to see a single one about Contron in the mentally disturbing series. Sure, the story of Obey the Walrus is one of mystery and betrayal, and it's ultimately a more interesting tale to tell, but it wouldn't have happened without Contron blazing the trails for every horror YouTuber that came after him. If you want to learn more about Obey the Walrus, go check out Blame It on George's video about him. It's like 40 minutes long and it goes way more in depth than I did. You can also read this really long and detailed post on the Hobby Drama subreddit, which is the primary source of information for Obey the Walrus both me and George used to make our videos. Alright guys, that's it for today, thanks for watching.